paraphrase something in Proverbs. It said that much has been given, much is expected in return. And I've spent a number of years in public service, and I enjoy working with people and problem solving and trying to get Cullman a little better place to live.
Specifically, Darrell, give us a little bit of your background.
I was a vocational agriculture teacher. They've changed that term several times, agriculture and agri-science and different things like that. But I started teaching at West Point High School. I taught 7 years there and transferred to Holly Pond and retired there after 23 more years. After retiring, I worked in the farm supply business for a number of years, and then got involved in politics as associate commissioner. And of course, during that time, I served a term on the Cullman County School Board. And in addition to that, I managed a water department here in the county for 20 years. And you don't stack all of them together, but I was doing some of them at the same time, and they asked me to manage this water system so they could find someone, and so after 20 years I found someone for them.
Okay. Darrell, someone mentioned to me several years ago that the main issue the county commission is roads. It's always roads. What are your comments about that?
That's true. It always has been, and probably will be for a long time. When I was associate commissioner, we had an opportunity to participate in the A-Trip program. This is where the state took some federal money and gave it out to the counties, or we could make application for it to pay what's called federal aid roads. There are certain roads in the county that is classified as federal aid roads. That's where you have received federal money, to help maintain those roads. And it was an 80-20 match. The state paying 80% and us paying 20%, and it was strictly for asphalt roads. And when the county engineer came and asked us how many roads did we want to apply for, my answer was every one of them that would qualify. And that's been a ongoing project for 4 or 5 years now, and I think this spring they will be completed, and we're getting about 70 miles of asphalt roads for 20% of the cost. Now that goes a long ways in the main arteries, but we still have these farm to market roads out here that's a lot of them in deplorable condition. And I don't mind mentioning this. The legislature is tossing around the idea of increasing gasoline tax, and I've been asked, well, what's your opinion? Well, I'm not for it under the present formula that we have in the state. Right now, all the gasoline tax money goes to Montgomery, and it's divided out according to population. And here we are in Cullman County with the second most roads in the state, and we're 15th in funding. And so I think if they passed it and gave it back on the present formula, we'd get shortchanged again. However, I understand that there are some lobbying groups in Montgomery, and certainly I will join them if it looks like it's going to pass. They are lobbying for the lion's share of that money to go to rural areas for farm to market roads and bridges. Now, if that's the case, hey, I'm all for it, because that would sure go a long ways. But even the event that doesn't pass, I feel like that I'm familiar enough with the budget, and for once I'd have an opportunity to make out the budget. And I feel like that we can at least put another $1 million a year into resurfacing farm to market roads. And that would be one of my priorities. And that won't solve the problem, but it would double the amount of miles that's been resurfaced here in the past. So that's something that I really want to work with our associate commissioners on and hopefully get done.
If you come up with an extra $1 million for roads, does that mean you're taking it from somewhere else? Where would you be taking it from?
Well, there's areas that can be cut. I wouldn't want to start specifying those right now, but I think everybody will agree there's waste in government everywhere.
Okay.
And so you sit down and look at some of those things, and I don't think you would have to take it from necessarily from all of it from someone else. When I came in as associate commissioner in 2010, if you remember, we were in the depths of a depression. Sales tax revenue dropped to an all-time low during those years there. But since then, and if you look the last several months, the economy has grown, particularly here in Cullman, and the sales tax revenue is greatly increased. And so, what are you going to do with that money if you got a lot more money coming in? What are you going to do with it? Well, I want to put it on roads.
Darrell, talk about the county parks.
Well, we have I think a good park system. Of course, there's always work to be done. I was instrumental in bringing the Ag Center up at Vinemont into the park system. That board up there had basically almost went bankrupt, and so we got them to turn it back over to the county commission, and we put it in our park system. And since then, we invested a little money in it, and I went to the city and asked them to help us out. And they helped us out with some money up there to do some remodeling and fixing up. And the Ag Center is being used quite a bit now. And of course, that's beneficial for us. It's also beneficial for the city because of lodging taxes and places to eat. A lot of events like to go up there because of all the amenities you have on 157 there, that exit. The OHV Park, when I came into office, was costing the county $300,000 a year when it was first opened. But we put some good management in place down there, and when I left office, it was almost paying its way. And folks down there had done a good job of managing, and so that park is really doing well. And one other thing that I would like to add into the park system is the shooting range. Now, Commissioner Yarborough and the former sheriff started a shooting range down at in the Bremen area down there, and they did a lot of work. They've constructed the berms. They have built shelters down there to get under to shoot. They have a restroom down there. They have sidewalks that are already poured for handicap accessible, but since they left office, it's just been sitting there. And if you go down there, it's just a big sign up says it's closed to the public. And I think it would take very little to finish that, and that's one of my priorities. We all believe in First Amendment, Second Amendment rights, the right to bear arms, but along with that, there's a little responsibility to use these firearms, in a safe and correct manner. And I've got a farm. I can carry my grandson down in the pasture and teach him to shoot and handle firearms safely. But how many people here in the city and county only have a house and a lot? They have no place to go. And so I think that's needed, and I hear it, wherever I go. People mention it to me that they would like to see that little park opened up so that they could, go down and have a place to shoot their firearms, and so that's a priority of mine also.
Darrell, Representative Corey Harbison says he's going to introduce a bill in the legislature to let the people vote on expanding the county commission beyond the 3 members we have now. What are your feelings about that?
Well, I guess it's kind of like that gasoline tax. I would be in favor of it with certain provisions. I don't particularly like electing folks from districts. I'd rather see if we have a 5-member commission that they be elected at large and voted on by everyone in the county. I think sometimes when you divide people up in districts, then you have representatives that are looking out for their little area, and oftentimes they may forget the best needs for the county as a whole. And so I think if you had 5 good folks elected, countywide, and let them come together, and I envision it to be more like a city or a town council, be a part-time basis, and I think if it's part-time, I believe you would attract a number of good candidates, that business folks that would have time to serve on the commission there and make a good contribution.
To wrap things up, tell the voters why they should vote for you on March 1st.
Well, I guess I'd have to say I think I'm the best qualified candidate. I've had business experience working in the farm supply business and managing a water system, and I have a fairly good educational background. I've got a BS degree and a master's degree, and of course it's from Auburn. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'd alienate a few folks, but you can get a good education down there, and then my years of experience on the school board and serving a term as associate commissioner, I feel like that I'm qualified to oversee almost a $50 million budget and bring some new leadership so that we can continue to move Cullman County forward.
Very good. Darrell Hicks is a Republican candidate for County Commission Chairman, and the primary election is March 1st.
Super Tuesday, March 1st.
Very good. Thank you, Darrell.
Thank you.